You've come home and found the door ajar. You hear voices. You retreat carefully and quietly to the garage to arm yourself before entering the house. Will this decision to confront the unknown people in your home be a wise one or the last one? Stop the Threat starts now. Hello and welcome to Stop the Threat. My name is James Towle. On this week's episode, we take you to the Lone Star State of Texas for a reenactment of a robbery, which we have entitled Noises Within. But before I show you part one, let me introduce you to this week's panel. Don Clark. Don was with the FBI for 35 years and was the special agent in charge of the Houston as well as the New York office. Don has been with us before and we welcome him back. Chuck Joyner. Chuck served with the CIA before joining the FBI. Chuck retired in 2011 and opened his own company called Survival Sciences. Marc MacYoung, also a returning guest. He is the author of 25 plus books on the subject of surviving in a high-risk situation and is a well-recognized court expert on cases involving violence. Before we get started though, Don, I was looking at your bio and I didn't realize that you were the officer in charge of the Achille Lauro case.
Yeah, it was the first cruise liner that had been taken over with all the citizens on it just by a very small group of people that was getting it
right,
taken over.
Did they come on a boat and come up? How
no,
was that
they came on the boat. Some of them on the boat
when it left
came
dock.
up with a ticket and so forth.
Okay.
And so, but when the boat docked, then the others came in knowing that that's where the boat was going to dock. And so they came in to meet with the ones who were already on the ship.
Okay.
That's
right.
what.
So it was a coordinated attack.
Yes.
And a well-coordinated.
Well-coordinated
right?
attack.
So were
yeah.
these military, paramilitary types? Were these Muslims? Was this a hate thing? What was going on here?
I'm going to have to say it was a group of all that you just mentioned because it was a hate thing.
Okay.
You know, it was to take a shot at the United States.
And that was
Yes.
the intention.
Right.
And the name of the group, do we know that? Were they organized into a name or
They
not
really
at
didn't
that
have
time?
a name.
Yeah, at
you
that
know,
time
that's been modern time that they have names.
Okay.
Back then they didn't have a name. We had to look at the names.
Right.
And for those of us who were working this type of thing, many of us, myself included, didn't speak the language, didn't know, so we had to work.
So it's a big learning curve for you as well.
It was a huge learning curve for the FBI nation and worldwide, is that right. English is the only thing, and if you don't speak English, forget
right.
about it. So as a result of that, we actually started hiring people who talked and had other.
That kicked off a lot of new
yes.
things within
exactly.
the FBI.
Right.
So we can safely say then, these are not the same Muslim terror groups that we deal with in later times. This was an early version of an unorganized group who only wished to express some hate towards the United States. Am I safe in saying that?
You're absolutely correct. It has changed significantly from what happened back then to what's happening right now.
I gotta go, Don. Okay, when we come back, I'm gonna show you part one of Noises Within. Don't go away. Welcome back, viewers. I'm about to show you part one, but before I do, let me give you some stats on robberies. There are 2 million home intrusions reported in the United States per year. 30% of those are entered by unlocked windows and unlocked doors. There's a burglary every 13 seconds. So before I start sounding like an alarm salesman, let's watch part one.
See? Door was unlocked and no one home. Let's find some stuff and get out of here before he gets back.
Right. I'll go to the bedroom and find the jewelry.
All right, go look upstairs.
Hey, check this out.
Hey, great. Put this in the bags, keep going.
Yeah, okay, well, I can see right now there's going to be a lot to talk about because I can run a list off that I can't even write fast enough. Door unlocked?
It happened.
Okay, you left your door open. Let me ask you this question. You come home, you decide you're going to enter your home from the back door, which seems odd to me, but okay. You come around and you notice that there's people inside. There's voices. You have to assume there's more than one since you hear voices. So the question is, when do you call 911?
Before you go in, like
Maybe right now?
right.
Yes.
Well, and then the thing is that property is given, or life is given priority over property. So although it's very territorial and natural for the guy to want to go in, he's actually putting himself into danger. It's not he's home, they come in, so he's trapped.
Right.
He's now stepping into.
Yeah, that's a real good point. Because
And-
he doesn't have to.
Right, and the prosecutor is going to let you know about that.
Okay, that's a good point. The prosecutor will say that. That's a,
You're engaging.
you're engaging. Okay, so the smarter thing would be to back out. You hear voices, call 911, maybe take down some license numbers of vehicles, maybe get out your phone and prepare to take some pictures of people exiting your house.
Yep.
And you want to
Don?
stay on 911 so that you can have a
Yes.
continuous dialogue with 911 so you can describe to the police what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Don?
If you drove up to your house and if you see something different there that's happening and you really think it's serious enough, you should certainly not try to go into the house.
Okay, and I'm wondering, on that note, which is a good observation, he drives up, he sees something unusual. Is that why he comes into the back door? I mean, I'm still struggling with coming in the back door because I don't know anybody that does that.
Well,
but maybe there's a reason.
I agree with that. If I pull my car in the garage door and then decide to go around the back to look, I'm going back there for some particular reason, you know, and the reason could be I
feel
left my
uncomfortable.
front door key and I need to go in the
Yeah,
back,
sure.
or
Okay.
it could be something's wrong. Maybe I just saw the gate in the back be slightly open again,
Okay.
and so I don't know.
And
And
once
then that's
again-
when you need to get to be alert.
Right,
Okay,
and
all
once
right,
again, let's look at that from the standpoint of a prosecutor who's looking for an easy conviction. You may have this legitimate reason, but he's going to try and sell it as you're getting all tactical and coming around
that's a
to
good
engage.
point. Yeah, that is a good point. That they might look at that as being that you are actually making an assault on your own home kind
Yes.
of a thing because you were uncomfortable with what you saw, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that could be well interpreted. But if we move past that for just a minute, like I have to jump into another question here because I'm running out of time. 22 bolt action rifle?
With more than one person, that's going to be a problem.
I'm struggling with that. If that's the only weapon he has,
All the more reason to get away and
That's
call
exactly.
911.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
I got a 22. I mean, I have a 22 like
Yeah.
that, and it's like an antique. I don't even shoot it anymore. But so I'm not sure what's going to take place here.
Wait, I hear one. I have one bullet, and I hear voices.
Yeah. Hey, this is true just the way it was reported to us. We don't make this up. Let's watch part 2 when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. We have a difficult situation unfolding right here before us. The homeowner is determined to stop the threat. He's outnumbered, possibly outgunned, but he's decided to enter his home. Let's watch part 2.
Check this out.
Hey, great. Put this in here and keep going. Crap. All right.
What the hell? What are you doing in my house? Yeah, stay where you are. Don't move. Hands up. You, turn around. Slowly.
Okay, man, be cool.
Quiet. Both of you, lay down on the ground. Hands apart. Yeah, honey? Yeah, I need you to call the police. I just came home to 2 guys breaking into the house. I've got them at gunpoint. Don't move! Hands apart. Stay there! Don't move! I know you're up there. Come down with your hands up. There are more upstairs. Tell the police to hurry up.
All right, don't shoot.
Come down here now. Slowly. Lay down on the ground. Keep your hands apart. Don't move. Yeah, there are 3 of them. I've got them at gunpoint.
Okay. Now we have an empty gun, and it's a 22 at that, but it's empty. It's a long-barreled rifle. He's now entered the home with this. Would you agree with me that the can of lighter fluid out front and a match might have been more effective? I mean, come on. Okay, this is true. This is a real story. This is how it took place. He was very bold. He was very, very lucky.
Yes.
Where do you want to go with this?
Well, I'm going to take off right from you. He was extremely lucky, you know. And in today's world and sometime back up to here, that would not have been the right thing to do. You know, for years now, we have talked to citizens and people about, hey, I know it's your property. I know you can, you know, do what you want to do there, but when you think someone is in there or doing something, then you need to call outside to the people
Right
who
now.
can come and do the job.
Right
That's
now.
right.
And more than that,
Yeah.
he wanted to be a cop. I walked into a burglar in my own house, and he had an axe, and he was about to put it in my head. Situation didn't work out the way he wanted, but my first thing was not stay here, I'm going to call the cops. It's leave. I gave him an opportunity to leave. So
I like that.
Right.
He
well,
could have
the
done
thing
that.
is- right. And
could
I
have
mean,
done that.
Be a very good witness. I mean, first of all, going in with an empty gun, that just makes me
And
twitch.
holding 3 people at gunpoint.
Right, with no bullet.
Yeah.
But more than that, get out of here. And I mean, they're less likely to get froggy.
What's wrong with that? Anything?
Well, there's several things he did do right.
There was some
One
things,
was
we
the
can
commands
get to
were
that.
excellent.
He did a few things
He
right.
proned them out quickly.
Okay, all right.
The issue with the bag, you see the one gentleman reaching for the bag. That would make me very nervous. You
Yeah.
either need to move the bag or move the suspect.
Right. Yeah, I like
mean,
that.
there's so many things wrong with this, but the one thing that did go right is that he did give good commands. And from the commands, you think he probably was a police officer.
But he's not a police officer. It's
no.
not his
Not in
job.
that situation.
He was not a police. He was acting, and I'm okay with the fact that he was acting like one. I don't care about that. You could even say you're a police officer. I don't care about that either. But I'm probably more concerned with the fact that you're doing this with an unloaded rifle against 3 people who, if they had been professional burglars, they would have taken one look at you and that rifle, probably laughed themselves to death before they took you down.
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point, is that if you're going to take a weapon to do something, then you better do it.
You better be
You better know
willing
what
to do
you're
it.
That's
doing and
the-
do it.
that's the
Okay.
problem.
And do you call your wife at this point?
That was
Yeah.
my problem.
It
It's
doesn't
like
make any sense.
911 or
Right.
honey.
Yeah.
That is not a really strong strategy. If this guy survived, it's by sheer dumb luck.
Yeah.
Because there are so many things that could have gone wrong in this situation.
And one of the things he could have done also was put some sort of obstacle between himself and the suspects. So if they were going to attack him, at least they have to move around, and it gives them
Right.
some time to react to the situation, as opposed to standing in the middle of the floor with them around him.
But once again, one of the problems you're dealing with is that you have untrained people trying to control the situation as though they are police.
Yes.
Right? If these guys are out running, that's fine. You give them a description, and you can't outrun a Motorola. It's one of those things that one's communication is everybody's 3 guys, one's dressed like this, one's
Yes.
dressed like this. Let the police do the heavy lifting.
Yeah, he could have done so much more being outside.
I also think ego is a big thing too
Yes.
with individuals. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
It's mine. I can do it. I'm the big guy. I got the gun. Doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You don't even see who's going to be shooting you.
Yeah, right. Listen, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to try to wrap this up for you, and hopefully we can leave you with some advice, so don't go away. Viewers, thanks for coming back. We'd like to kind of resolve this somehow, although that may be more difficult. I did do a little research. I am informed that he did hit the redial button for his wife rather than to try to dial 911, which I think tells me you should have 911 maybe on a, don't they have that on most phones? But anyway, that's what he chose to do, and that was the reason when I read the report that he did it that way. May not be the way we would do it, but that's how he did it.
Yeah.
So at least he made the call.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
somebody's
good.
on the line
Eventually.
anyway, right?
Not a bad step.
Not a bad step.
a
I mean,
bad step.
hitting the redial is
right.
better than fumbling around.
That's
So you
right.
got an empty gun, 3 guys, blah, blah, blah.
When you're calling the police and you're standing there with a gun pointed at people,
Unloaded.
well, I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
But the thing about it is, when you're communicating that you want the police to come and you have a weapon drawn on somebody or you're doing something, you need to communicate that to the police.
That's a
Saying
very
that
good
you are armed and that
Right.
you got 3 guys
Tell
at
them that they're
gunpoint
coming-
down the belly.
Right, that they need to know, because otherwise they're just rolling up and they see,
Don't move.
one guy pointing a gun.
And recognize that they're going to give you commands to drop the gun, and you better be obeying very quickly.
Right.
And I think this also shows there's a time to be a good witness. Many times you just need to be a good witness. In this situation, this is when he needed to pull back, call 911, and be a good witness.
Yeah,
Right.
and there's also a time to be a hero, and then there's a time not to be
Yes.
a hero.
How about being a rabbit?
Yeah.
Running is good sometimes.
Well, let me just ask you this. If he had had an alarm system, this may not even have occurred.
Well, that goes
Correct.
back to the good neighbor policy, which is that you want to make sure that your house is more secure than your neighbor's.
Right.
So when
Yeah.
they make that scouting event and determine who they're going to rob, they rob the neighbor and not
Right.
you, because you've done the right things. You've taken
And
the right
the
precautions.
problem with the alarm systems is when you're talking about pros, they know what the response time is.
Yeah, well, I
they're
don't
in-
think we're necessarily
these are not
dealing with pros.
But see, again, you
they
asked
would have
about
tripped an alarm, I'm sure.
You ask about an alarm system. A pro's going to be in and out before the response shows, and that's why they're in and out within 5-10 minutes.
And I agree with that, and that's probably the reason why in other shows I've alluded to the fact that we need to have some strong bonds with our neighbors.
Yes.
You know,
Your
things
neighbors
like that.
are your
Unless
best.
you live out in the middle of nowhere, if you're in a neighborhood somewhere and an alarm goes off, interestingly enough, and probably a psychologist would answer this question, but most human reactions to the first alarm are they ignore it.
Yes.
It isn't until the second time something comes up that they actually get up and look and see what's going on.
Well, you're also dealing with pros. Again, the thing is, somebody hears a noise, they look out, and the house just looks normal. I mean,
Right.
open the door, walk in,
Right.
close it. Bust a window, people look out, and they don't see anybody because the breaking in is the fast part.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
well, right. If you don't see anybody, it's going to go away. What do I leave them with? Leave the audience with something.
Well, I just think if that happens in somebody's house, don't try to take it on themselves.
Okay, I like
because
that.
that's going to be the
Right.
worst thing that happens.
That's going to be the biggest mistake
That's
you make
right,
there.
exactly.
And I like what you said.
Yeah.
Just why get involved?
Yeah,
Walk away.
That's right.
Just walk away.
Walk out and call.
Yeah, call 911 and wait.
We all think we're
I
tough,
like that.
but we're not that tough.
Wait, I got to run. I'm sorry I've run out of time. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and hashtag stop the threat. Let me know what your ideas are on this. See you again next week. Be safe, be trained, be alert.